What is going on YouTube? It is your boy MrBaboon back with another reaction video. This time we are reacting to every notorious mafia family in the world explained in 15 minutes. We're gonna be reacting to this. I'm excited. I don't think we reacted to this channel before. I don't think we might have. We might have, but I don't remember. But either way, I will have the video link and the channel link down below in the description if you guys want to check it out for you guys yourselves. You guys can do that. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the video. Boom, full screen. The video, boom.
The Gambino family.
Yes.
So, the Gambino family. They're like the Kardashians of the Mafia world. Everyone knows them, everyone talks about them, and they've managed to stay relevant for decades. This family, named after the patriarch Carlo Gambino, became one of the most powerful crime enterprises in America. At its peak, it controlled major parts of the New York City underworld, from labor unions to narcotics, and even, believe it or not, the pizza industry. Because why not, right? Here's the kicker. The Gambinos were a family business in the truest sense of the word. Carlo's cousin John Gotti became the face of the family after Carlo stepped down. Gotti was charismatic, media-savvy, and had a knack for dodging conviction after conviction, earning him the nickname the Teflon Don. But here's the twist. John Gotti's life of luxury and mob boss fame didn't end in a hail of glory. He was eventually betrayed by his own people, leading to his downfall. Oh, the irony. The Gambino family continues to be a shadowy force in organized crime, though they're a little less loud nowadays, probably because they learned the hard way that keeping a low profile is key to staying out of jail. But here's the most shocking detail of it all. Despite Gotti's infamous fall from grace, the Gambino family didn't just disappear into the shadows. In fact, they managed to adapt and thrive even after their most famous member was imprisoned. The family diversified, engaging in everything from construction rackets to loan sharking and even sophisticated fraud schemes. And while the spotlight may have shifted away from the Gambinos, their ability to stay relevant in the ever-changing world of organized crime proves that, like any good mob family, they've mastered the art of reinvention. So, while Gotti may have been the face of the Gambino empire, the family itself remains a quiet, calculating, and dangerous force still pulling strings from behind the scenes with a much lower profile, yet just as powerful as ever. The Corleone family. While the Gambinos are a real-life criminal empire, the Corleones of the Godfather fame bring together the best of Hollywood fiction and the dangerous truths of real-life mafia dynasties. The Corleone family, as depicted by the legendary Vito Corleone in Mario Puzo's masterpiece, may not technically exist, but the way their world is portrayed has been heavily inspired by the workings of real mafia families, particularly the Genovese and the Bonanno families in New York. Let's talk about Vito Corleone for a second. The man was charming, not in a good old buddy kind of way.
Bro, I haven't seen that, like, those movies in so long. I need to go back and watch it.
But in a I'll help you out, but you owe me a favor you could never get out of kind of way. It's shocking how much the fictional Corleones resemble the real mafia bosses in their ability to balance violence with diplomacy. Even stranger, the famous line, "I'll make him a deal he can't refuse," became almost a real thing. Mafia families have been known to use offers of this nature, convincing people to do what they want, one way or another. The Corleone Empire might be fictional, but the strategies of manipulation, power, and fear are all too real. And here's the twist. The Godfather was based on real events and people. Vito Corleone's rise to power mirrors the stories of real-life bosses who manipulated politics, unions, and law enforcement to build their criminal empires. So when you watch the movies, you're not just seeing a great story, you're seeing an idolized and, okay, slightly exaggerated version of what actually went down in the underworld. And we can only hope that, unlike the Corleones, your family never ends up in a bloody gang war. The Sicilian Mafia. When you think of the Mafia, don't just stop at America. The Sicilian Mafia, also known as Cosa Nostra, is the very definition of organized crime. Picture this, a shadowy world where blood oaths, violent retribution, and secretive handshakes are the order of the day. Founded in the mid-19th century, the Sicilian Mafia became a law unto itself, reigning over everything from agriculture to the political scene in Italy. The influence of Cosa Nostra was so strong that they practically ran Sicily, turning the entire island into their personal playground of extortion and racketeering. Here's the chilling part. One of the most infamous and surprising acts of power was their direct involvement in the assassination of Italy's most prominent anti-mafia politician, Giovanni Falcone, in 1992. The Sicilian mafia didn't just stop at controlling their own territory. They were involved in international drug trafficking and were known for their brutal enforcement tactics. To make matters more insane, Cosa Nostra's reach extended so far that even the Italian government was found to have been involved with or controlled by mafia elements at some point. The mafia was so embedded in the system that it took decades for authorities to even make significant strides against them. And if you think they've lost their grip, think again. While law enforcement has made some headway, Cosa Nostra still plays a dangerous game, dipping its fingers into illegal activities across the globe. But perhaps the most shocking element, despite their terrifying reputation, they're also known for a strange sense of honor. They don't usually harm women or children. That's one rule that keeps them at least somewhat ethical in their twisted logic. It's like saying we'll ruin your life, but we'll let the kids live. Weirdly comforting, isn't it? The Russian Mafia. Let's leave Italy and take a hard turn to the east. The Russian Mafia, or Bratva, is one of the most powerful and dangerous criminal organizations on the planet. Formed in the Soviet Union, this mafia family took advantage of the chaos following the USSR's collapse to expand its reach worldwide. But here's the thing, unlike the Italian mafias that tend to operate through family structures, the Russian Mafia operates more like a corporate business. They have bosses, but they also have investors, and they make deals with global corporations, not just street-level thugs. The Bratva's reach is almost unfathomable. They have fingers in almost every illegal pie you can think of. Narcotics, arm trading, human trafficking, money laundering, cybercrime, you name it. But the most shocking fact, the Russian Mafia has ties to political elites, intelligence agencies, and even business moguls who operate in the most legitimate sectors of society. They're so embedded in Russia's power structure that it's hard to tell where the government ends and the mafia begins. In a world where money talks and corruption walks, the Russian Mafia is like the shadowy puppeteer pulling all the strings. Forget about mob bosses with cigars. This is high-stakes, global-level crime, and it's got everyone from tech billionaires to corrupt politicians on speed dial. And let's not forget their...
It's absolutely crazy. Like, I mean, the Russian Mafia is definitely, like... I mean, they up there on, like, for power and stuff, right? Like, they pretty up there. Like, on how much they control and shit. It's pretty crazy.
Their reputation for ruthlessness. If the Italian Mafia is known for its brutal enforcement of the Omerta Code, no snitching, the Russian Mafia is known for taking extreme measures. They've been known to literally disappear people who step out of line, no questions asked, and unlike the romanticized version of mafia life that we see in Hollywood, this isn't a family business. It's a cold, calculated multinational corporation that's perfectly okay with leaving a trail of bodies in its wake to secure its dominance. The Bonanno family. The Bonanno family is one of those under-the-radar mafia families that you don't hear much about in mainstream movies, but their history is a roller coaster of betrayal, violence, and survival. Founded by Joe Bonanno in the 1930s, the family initially rose to prominence through a combination of old-school mafia traditions and strategic alliances. At the height of its power, it was one of the 5 families that ruled the New York City underworld, but unlike the Gambinos or Lucchese, the Bonannos had a reputation for being a bit more secretive, more reclusive, perhaps too much so for their own good. The family's most shocking chapter came in the 1960s when Joe Bonanno was forced out of power after a disastrous power struggle within his own ranks. He had spent years building a criminal empire that spanned from New York to the West Coast, but his internal conflicts with fellow mafia members, some of whom felt he was becoming too independent, led to a brutal attempt on his life. After surviving that, Bonanno would go on to orchestrate one of the most outrageous acts of mafia defection ever. He went into hiding for years, still pulling strings from the shadows. Talk about playing the long game. To this day, no one truly knows where Bonanno disappeared to, and rumors swirl that he's still out there running his business from beyond the grave. The Bonanno family's ability to recover from such a catastrophic leadership crisis is nothing short of incredible. While they
I wanted a nug of that.
To recover from such a catastrophic leadership
It's pretty crazy. mean, some of them ain't even got a picture, bro.
Crisis is nothing short of
That's
incredible.
really crazy.
While they've suffered through some major
Holy
setbacks,
shit.
like that time a mob war nearly wiped them out in the 80s, they've kept a relatively low profile, quietly building up their illicit empire with a few key operations in drug trafficking and loan sharking. They're not flashy, but they know how to stay alive in the ever-changing world of organized crime. The Genovese family. If there were a mafia most likely to win a game of chess award, the Genovese family would take the trophy.
Yeah.
They're masters of laying low, keeping their heads down, and quietly pulling the strings behind the scenes. This family, often called the Ivy League of the Five
Shit. Shit. That's a fucking... Bro, that's a fucking shit ton. Look at that.
families doesn't go for the big headlines or flashy hits. They prefer
Oh.
Texas.
Oh, we got an odd.
Waiting.
I don't think I skipped this one. Is it gonna
And
be
wondering.
skipped? Yeah, I can skip it.
subtlety
Nice.
and strategy, operating as the most powerful and elusive of New York's 5 notorious crime syndicates. Founded by the brilliant and ruthless Vito Genovese, the Genovese family became known for its cunning and cold-blooded nature. Vito himself was one of the most calculating mobsters to ever walk the earth, climbing through the ranks through
Shit.
careful maneuvering, under-the-radar deals, and violent retribution when necessary. And yet, despite his iron-fisted rule, he preferred to avoid unnecessary conflict. The Genovese approach was all about control from the shadows, and they've managed to stay out of the public eye while staying deeply embedded in major criminal operations, including drug trafficking, gambling, and extortion. Here's the kicker. The Genovese family's influence is so far-reaching that even though they've never had the loud, larger-than-life personalities of a Gotti or a Carlone, they've been the most successful at surviving. This family has had to deal with betrayals, law enforcement crackdowns, and leadership changes, but they continue to thrive. And here's the real shocker. While the Gambinos may get the limelight, the Genovese family has remained in many ways the most feared simply because of how they operate behind the scenes. Talk about power without the pizzazz.
Yeah.
The Lucchese family. The Lucchese family, one of the infamous 5 families, has always been a formidable player in the Mafia game. Founded in the early 1930s by Tommy
damn.
Three-Finger Brown Lucchese, this family quickly rose to power, first in the garment district and later branching into other profitable industries. What sets the Lucchese family apart from others is their ability to adapt and expand, whether it was through infiltrating labor unions, pushing into Hollywood, or even making moves in the trucking industry. If there's money to be made, the Lucchese will find a way to tap into it. However, while their criminal activities may seem like the usual mafia fare, extortion, loan sharking, drug trafficking, what really set the Lucchese family apart was their aggressive expansion tactics. They were known for their keen ability to take over smaller, rival organizations, absorbing them into their own ranks, essentially making them one of the largest, most diverse mafia families in New York. In fact, they've made so many smart moves in business that they've become known as one of the most corporate of the mafia families. They were as business savvy as they were brutal. The real shocking fact about the Lucchese family? They were among the first to have mafia members infiltrate legitimate businesses, creating a sort of mafia syndicate hybrid that was difficult for law enforcement to break apart. They also have one of the most successful survival strategies in mafia history, continuously bouncing back from major setbacks, including arrests and trials. While not as famous as the Gambinos or the Corleones, the Lucchese family's legacy of silent, calculated power has become a cornerstone of the mafia world for decades. The Medellin Cartel. Now, let's take a little trip to Colombia, where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
The Medellin Cartel, led by the infamous Pablo Escobar, wasn't technically a mafia family in the classic sense, but its operations were so ruthless, efficient, and global that it's impossible not to include them in any discussion about dangerous criminal empires.
I mean,
In the 1980s,
I can see that, because, they did so much. So fucking much, bro. They had, so many fucking shit on lockdown. So, I could see that, yeah. I could definitely see that. We got all these different families, you know what I mean? So, and the way he, Pablo Escobar did it, bro, he had the shit on lock. For fuck, how long? I mean, for a good bit. You know what I mean? 1980s. Like, I mean, when did he die? Cause I know he died. Doing like when the fuck, I can't think of it. When they like a raid or something. You know what I mean? How am I fucking up his name?
Actions were so ruthless, efficient, and global that it's impossible not to include them in any discussion about how ruthless wasn't technically.
Alright, see? Okay, so yeah, I was just spelled it wrong. Alright, so it was in the 1993. And he started what, in the 80s? So, I mean, he fucking had that shit on lock. Like, it was absolutely crazy. So, I mean, like, I guess what I'm saying is I can see why put him in this list. You know what I mean? I can see why.
A mafia family in the classic sense, but its operations were so ruthless, efficient, and global that it's impossible not to include them in any discussion about dangerous criminal empires. In the 1980s, the Medellin cartel dominated the cocaine trade, controlling 80% of the world's cocaine supply at its peak. Escobar was one of the wealthiest men on the planet, and his cartel didn't just operate in Colombia, they had connections and operations in the US, Europe, and beyond. What made the Medellin cartel so terrifying wasn't just their violent methods, although they were brutal with bombings, assassinations, and public displays of force, it was their complete disregard for human life and their absolute monopoly on the cocaine trade. Escobar's philosophy was simple: plata o plomo, silver or lead. Either way, you take his bribe or you take a bullet. The cartel had politicians, judges, and law enforcement officials on their payroll, making them nearly untouchable. Yeah. But here's the most shocking part. Escobar wasn't just a criminal mastermind, he was a folk hero to many in Colombia. The man built schools, hospitals, and even soccer fields using his wealth to gain the favor of the poor. Of course, this didn't absolve him from his violent reign, but it added a layer of complexity to his legacy. In the end, Escobar's empire fell, but the Medellin cartel's influence still lingers in the world of organized crime. Today, drug cartels are still one of the most dangerous forces on the planet, with lessons learned from the Medellin cartel continuing to shape their operations. The Ndrangheta. When it comes to mafia families, one of the most dangerous and believe it
couldn't even pronounce that, if I'm being honest.
Are not least known as the Ndrangheta. Based in Calabria, Italy, this organization doesn't quite have the international recognition of the Sicilian Cosa Nostra, but its influence is terrifyingly widespread. In fact, many experts believe the Ndrangheta is now the most powerful and wealthy criminal syndicate in the world, surpassing even the notorious Sicilian Mafia in terms of economic power. What sets them apart? Silence and secrecy. While other families like the Gambinos or the Corleones love the spotlight, the Ndrangheta thrive in the shadows, letting their operations spread globally without drawing unnecessary attention to themselves. The family's primary business is in drug trafficking, particularly cocaine, and they control a huge portion of the cocaine trade from South America to Europe. But their reach doesn't end there. The Ndrangheta are heavily involved in money laundering, extortion, illegal waste disposal, and even the construction industry. But here's the kicker. Unlike other mafia families that try to stay within certain geographic boundaries, the 'Ndrangheta has a unique organizational structure that allows them to operate with extreme autonomy. Instead of having a centralized power, the family is broken into several semi-autonomous clans. This decentralized system makes them harder to infiltrate and take down. If one clan gets taken down, others just continue the operations without missing a beat. And here's the truly shocking part. Their global influence is so far-reaching that they've infiltrated banking systems, transportation, and even politics across several continents. Their success isn't just in illicit business, it's in how deeply embedded they are in legitimate industries. The 'Ndrangheta's capacity for corruption and intimidation is virtually unmatched, making them a silent yet powerful giant in the world of organized crime. Despite their low profile, they're operating with an efficiency and ruthlessness that sends chills down the spine of law enforcement worldwide.
Well, shit. I mean, fuck. I'm just gonna subscribe. You know what I mean? It's definitely a good video. You know what I mean? Definitely a good video. Try to think. I mean, everyone knows that family. Yeah, everyone's seen the movie. You know what I mean? I mean, like, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, like, absolutely good list. I really enjoyed the video. I really did. It was a lot of information as well. Like, I mean, it was really good. It was really good. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are. That's going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Make sure you guys go check out the channel for yourself. Check out the video for yourself if you guys like. But definitely go check out the channel. See what other kind of videos they got. Because I think I might have to do that as well, if I'm being honest. Maybe find a couple more to react to. Who knows? You know what I mean? That's going to do it. Positivity is key. Motivation is key. Happiness is key. I'll see you guys in the next video. You guys stay safe. Watch out for each other. I'll see you guys in the next one.